lecture we saw how to fill a HTML table from a web form using DOM and JavaScript like this. We can get the value from this web form and we can fill this table by that values. But there is a problem. When we reload the page, all the data is lost. So in this lecture we will see how to save the data in some memory, and in this case we will use the concept of local storage. You can say local storage is a form of data that is stored in the client machine, and it is actually a permanent storage until we delete it. So we can save the data in the local storage and retrieve it back. So it has many applications. You can also use it for temporary purposes like in shopping cart. So let's start coding and see how to use the concept of local storage for maintaining an HTML table so that when we reload the web page, the data is not lost. So let's do the coding. This is a function that actually fills the HTML table. Now we will create a new function that will add the data into local storage memory, and let's comment out this function and we create new functions. So we add here a function with name add data. So I put it here like add data, and other function with name as get data, and another function name as delete data. So the delete data will actually delete all the data from the memory. So to delete the data we have to add another button here. Like here we have just two buttons. I add another button. I copy and paste this value and say its type would be button, and value delete local storage, and here we add an attribute on click, and we will call a function delete data, and in that function we will actually delete the local storage data. And very simple one line of code, local storage dot clear. So we will clear the existing data. So next we see how to get the data from the local storage. The data is stored in the local storage in the form of a string. We get that string and then we can convert that string into an array, because for the tabular form the right type of data is array. So to get the data from the local storage, the function is we will get in the form of a string. So I declare a variable with str like string, and here I say local storage dot get item, and let's say we will save the data by the name of our you can say local data. We put it this name, and this data is in the form of a string, so we will convert that string into an array. So let's declare a global variable of array here, the global variable new array, and we get the data in that array. We'll say array is equal to there is a function json.parse which will convert the string form of data into array form. So but this function will give an exception if the string is, if we do not have any data, because in the beginning we will not have any data in the local storage with this name. So we add a check here: if string is not null, then we will parse that string into array. So this way we get the existing, yeah, our previous data, and in this function we will add the new row of the table into this array form. So in this function, first we call the get data function. This function will get the existing data from the memory into this array variable, and next we push the current data from this web form into this array. So to push the data, we have the function array.push, and which will take an line of array as an argument. So here we will build an associative array, and you know, an associative array is an array in which we refer to the individual columns with names. So here we will have 4 columns. The first column with the name PID. Sorry, what is the name here? I get it from here. So here is the name of first column. So PID dot, this value will be taken from this web form, and next is the value. The arguments will be comma separated, and next, no comma at the last, after the last argument. First one was the PID, then P description, and then there was P quantity here, and the last one was, I think, P date. So this way we updated that array with the current data as well. So now this array variable has the complete set of data, and now we will again set this array in our local storage with the name local data. So now this local data will contain the whole data so far, and the function to store the data is local storage dot set item, and here we will define name of the data, that is local data, and argument the content of the data, that is array. And as I already told you that in local storage data is stored in the form of string, so we will convert this into string form, and for that we have a function json dot stringify. So this way the data will be stored in the form of a string with the name of local data in our local storage. So the add data will store the data, and now in the same function we call the function of show, where, because we have to show the data in this table. So now we define the function show the data. So the show data function we can copy and paste this code here. I cut it from here and paste here, and you know, because the data has not more than one row, so we have to use the loop here. I do the loop for I is equal to 0, I less than array dot length, I plus, and in this loop I copy and paste this code. So we will actually displaying the data from the array. But before we displaying it from the array, we need to get the fresh copy of the array that we can have by calling the function get data. So I call the function get data here, and this will get us the fresh copy of the data. And here we get that, as this was explained in the previous lecture, we get the reference of the table, and this loop will fill that table with all the data from the array. And so here we will use the array reference, that is array with index I of the loop dot, as it is an associative array, we will use the name of the column. So we'll delete this one. I copy and paste this line of code here, here, and here. So here it will be replaced by description, replaced by quantity, replaced by pdate. So here you go. We are almost done. So we defined 4 functions here. Add data to the memory, where first we get the current data and previous data, add the current data to that array, and store the complete data back to the local storage. Get data function, delete data, and show data. Let's execute the code and see what happens. I think it was the same, this one, yes. Reload the page, and here add this one, this, there is some error. Let's check what the error is. Here we see in the console the error is invalid or unexpected token on the line number 35. But yes, here we go, line 35. This is okay. Save it, reload the code, and now check. 1 second, I have to plug the charger. So let's see now. Add to cart. So now the data is showing. Actually, I made some change. Yes, the data is showing because I have add here show data. No, let's see. So we have to add show data here. So now that when we will add some data, it will be shown on the screen, like add data. And click here, add to cart. The data is shown. That's great. But now there is an issue. Let's say I delete the local storage. Now refresh the code and click here, delete something, add to cart. 1 line is added. But next time when I add to cart, 2 lines are added, and next time check 3 lines are added. And the reason is, when we click on the add to cart, all the current data is inserted into the table, but the previous rows of the table are not deleted, because every time we create this table, we insert all the rows that for all the data that we have in the local storage. Actually, we should delete the previous rows so that we should have only this header row, and then we should create insert all the rows. So let's write some code here to delete the table all the rows of the table except the header rows before showing the data. So here we add some code to delete all the rows except the header rows for table. Sorry, here I declare a variable x, and it's actually table dot rows dot length. In x we will have all the rows of the table, and suppose your table has 10 rows, it is indexed as 0 1 2 9. First of all, we will delete table row 9 and we will stay and delete row 1. We will not delete the row with index 0 because row with index 0 is actually header row. So here we write the code for loop. I use this decrement operator. When we use the left decrement operator, we write the decrement on the left side of the variable. You know the variable is decremented before the execution of the loop. So if the x contains 10, here we will have 9 for the first time when we enter the loop. So we write table dot delete row, and here we give the index of the row. There will be 9 for the first time, and when the x will be 1, it will become when it will become 0, we will not enter the loop, so the header row will not be deleted. So that's it, and now see what happens. Refresh. Again some error. Let's see what the error is. The error is invalid or unexpected token at line number 36. Yes. Yes, this was wrongly added. The error is removed. Now we add something. Some error. Actually few lines of code were deleted, so this x was also deleted, so I delete this, and you have to add these are lines of code. So this line was accidentally deleted, so now we test it. Here you go. X is not defined. I think the page was not loaded. Now we try. Actually, I had not saved the code. Then when I saved it, now it's working. So now I add to cart. Just one row is added. No extra row is added. But still, when you reload the page, the data is hidden from the page. So what can we do to show the data when we reload the page? It's very simple. When we will reload the page, we need to call the show function. So you can call this show function on the body on load, or at this place, because this show function accesses the table element which is here. So we need to make sure that this table element is created before the show function is called. So we will call it after the creation of table. Script open, script close. We call the show function show data. So now I refresh it, and it's load. Delete local storage. Now refresh it. No data is shown. add a row and add to cart. Data is shown. Reload, data is still shown. So that was it, and stay tuned for next lectures.